I want to ask you something uncomfortable. Think about the last decision you've made in your business, in your life, something that cost you real money, real time, or real energy. And I want you to ask yourself honestly, how much of that decision was actually logical? Not how much of it felt logical, how much of it actually was. Because here's what the research tells us. And here's what I have learned from watching myself and other people around me for a few years. Almost none of it is ever logical. Logic comes after. The logic is the story that we tell ourselves to explain what we already decided was something much more powerful and ancient than reason: human nature. In phase one, we built the series around the marketing system. We talked about the awareness ladder, the flywheel, the warm-up stack, the 5 metrics, all of that. And if you've watched those 15 episodes, then you now have a better understanding of what digital marketing is, and you know it better than most agencies. But what phase one could not give you, we're going to cover here in phase two. The system and the tactics are only as good as the human beings running it. And the human beings are not rational creatures. Not even close. Not you, not your clients, not the gym owners who you are trying to reach. And not even me. I'm far from it, believe it. Understand that. Really understand that. And at a level that changes how you read every room that you walk into. This is the difference between a good marketer and a great one, between a good businessman and an excellent one. And that's what phase two is about. My name is Colin Charles, this is Enoch Marketing, and welcome to phase two, the laws of human nature. Now, if you are new to this channel, welcome. You can watch phase two without watching phase one. But I'm going to be honest with you, if you go back and you watch those 15 episodes, everything in this series will make more sense. Because phase one builds the foundation, but phase two builds an understanding of the person beneath the foundation. Now, if you watched all of phase one, you already know some of the frameworks. Damasio speaking on emotion and decision making, Daniel Kahneman on systems 1 and 2 thinking, Cialdini on influence, the Rice framework, the awareness ladder, and the coherence test. You understand all of it. Phase 2 is not a replacement for any of that. It is the layer of which the foundation sits upon. And I need you to know, the biggest obstacle for any business owner is not their ad budget. It's not their content strategy, it's not their website, it's not their Google reviews, and it's not their cost per click. It's them. And the emotional patterns that they cannot see themselves conducting. The ego is what makes them resistant to feedback. The shadow drives decisions that they can't explain. The need to be admired pulls them towards the choices that feel good in the moment and cost them dearly in the long run. And I know this because it's happened to me on multiple occasions. And it's happened to people around me. And it's happened to you. And we're going to get into that in the first episode. But here is the promise I'm giving you for phase two. This is just the intro. By the time you finish the 18 chapters and the conclusion, you will understand that human beings are at a level you're going to understand how it changes the way you take every sales call. It's going to change how you edit and create every piece of content. It's going to change every client relationship and every business decision you make about your own business. You'll understand all of it. And you will do better at understanding yourself. And that combination, system plus self-awareness, is the most powerful thing a business owner can have. So, we're going to focus mostly on Robert Greene's book, The Laws of Human Nature. If you don't know who Robert Greene is, let me introduce you to the mind behind the series. Robert Greene is an American author. He was born here in Los Angeles in 1959. He studied classical studies at the University of Wisconsin and later at the University of California at Berkeley. Before he became one of the most widely read writers on power, strategy, and human nature, he worked as a translator, a construction worker, and a movie producer's assistant, and many, many other jobs. That breadth of lived experience across industries, cultures, and the full spectrum of human ambition and failure is written on every single page of this book. His first book, The 48 Laws of Power, highly recommend, was published in 1998 and became required reading in boardrooms and in the bedrooms of ambitious people who wanted to understand how power actually works in the real world. Not the sanitized version that they teach in business school, the real world. He followed that with The Art of Seduction, then The 33 Strategies of War, and the 50th Law with rappers 50%. There is another book called Mastery, and then finally, in 2019, The Laws of Human Nature was released. Each book is research-dense, historically grounded, and written for people who want the unvarnished truth about human behavior rather than the comfortable version. Greene does not moralize. He just observes. He documents, he shows you how human beings are actually behaving, not how we wish that they would. He writes, "The most important skill in life is the ability to read other people. Without it, you're operating blind, reacting to the events instead of shaping them." The Laws of Human Nature was published in 2018. Excuse me, I misspoke. 2018. And it is his most ambitious work. At nearly 700 pages, it draws from evolutionary biology, neuroscience, psychology, philosophy, and history to identify 18 fundamental patterns across human nature that repeat across every culture, every era, and every context where human beings interact. These are not his opinions. They're just observations, documented across thousands of years of recorded human behavior, in war, in business, in love, in politics, and art. And the same patterns appear again and again because they're not cultural. They're biological. And they are what we are. So, let's get into why this matters for you as a CrossFit gym owner. Now, what does human nature have to do specifically with someone running a CrossFit gym or building a marketing agency? And the answer is, every problem you have in business is ultimately a human problem. The member who joins and then disappears after 60 days, that's a human nature problem. You did not understand what they are actually needing from the gym versus what they say they needed. We'll cover that in Law 2, empathy and the gap between the masks that people wear and what they're saying underneath it. Another example would be the coach who's brilliant in the gym but cannot take feedback without getting defensive. That is another thing we're going to cover at Law 10, the fragile ego and what it does to the people who are otherwise talented. Here's one. The potential client who sits across from you on a discovery call, agrees with everything you say, and then goes home and implements none of it. That's a human nature problem. Law 7, the resistance that hides behind the friendly facade. And the gym owner, probably you, who knows exactly what needs to change in their marketing but cannot bring themselves to do it. That's a human nature problem. Law 1. And the emotional patterns that override rational decision making every single time. As you'll find very quickly with Law 1, there's going to be a lot of callbacks to Daniel Kahneman. Greene gives you the lens. This series gives you the application. This, as Robert Greene writes, we are social animals whose entire lives are shaped by the interactions with other people. Almost all of our miseries and problems can be traced back to the troubled relationships with others, and sometimes ourselves. He wrote that in the introduction to this book. Almost all of our miseries and problems. Not some, almost all. Now, think about the last problem you had in your business that did not ultimately come back to a human being. Yourself, a client, a coach, a member, a competitor, behaving in a way that's almost always driven by something other than pure logic. Exactly. So, what's coming up? This is the intro. There will be 18 laws for the 18 different episodes, and we're going to cover those one by one. There's going to be you're watching the intro, there's going to be a conclusion at the end. And here's what we're building. Let me give you a sense of what the next 18 are going to look like. We're going to go through every one of Greene's laws, not at the surface level, at the level that actually changes how you think and apply. Each episode will have the same 3 parts from phase 1, the law as it is, my own thoughts, and how it applies to your business and gym. Here's a taste of where we're getting started. Law 1, master your emotional self. And that means every significant decision that you think you made logically, you didn't. We're going to talk about the moment in the Air Force when I screwed the pooch on that one. Decided to go against my own convictions and thoughts in order to take a higher position, and how that turned out. Episode 2, we're going to get into self-love and empathy. Now, the reason that most marketing fails is it's not connected to a strategy problem. It's a narcissism problem. And businesses cannot stop thinking about themselves and their solutions rather than seeing what the customer actually needs. Greene has a framework for fixing this, and so does Donald Miller. If you remember him, we talked about him in episode 8 of phase 1. Skipping around a little bit to law 5, to become an elusive object of desire. He talks about this both in the laws of nature and in the 48 laws of power. Law 13, advance with a sense of purpose. Greene calls it the caller. It's your life's task. Simon Sinek, we mentioned this back in phase 1, is your why. But Greene takes it somewhere where Simon Sinek doesn't. He tells you what happens when you spend your day doing work that's not yours, and how to find a way to find your way back to your purpose. So, we're going to cover the rest of those. We've just given you a few. 18 laws. We're going to cover all of them, how they apply to your marketing, to your gym, to your business, and how they're going to help you reach those people and keep them in your business. We're going to cross-reference Greene with the research that we already did in phase 1, Kahneman, Cialdini, Peterson, Damasio, Jung, everybody. And we will bring in new voices where the law demands it. The book is not a summary. Truthfully, it's a masterclass. And we're going to give you a summary of the masterclass. So, here's what I want you to take in with the next 18 episodes. Phase 1 taught us how the marketing systems work. The campaigns, the platforms, the data, the creative. The knowledge is real and it is valuable. And when you apply it, it's already working for you. Phase 2 teaches about human natures. The human beings inside of the systems. The ones that you're marketing to. The ones you are leading. The ones that you're going to see in the mirror every morning. Because the system is only as good as the person running it. And the person running it is subject to every one of the 18 laws that we're about to cover, whether they know it or they don't. The gym owner who understands human nature, who could read what a potential member actually needs beneath what they said they need, one who could see the ego pattern in a coach before it becomes a problem, are the one who can recognize when their own emotions are making decisions their rational brain is trying to justify. That business owner builds something that lasts. And that is what we're going to be building in this series. So, next episode, Law 1, master your emotional self. Next episode, Law 1, is all about mastering your emotional self. I'll give you a personal anecdote, and by the end, you'll understand exactly why the most dangerous decisions in your business are the ones that feel the most logical. If you find this valuable, subscribe. Share this with somebody who needs to see it, or we're building something together. If you like, please comment. Every comment counts and we read all of those. And from here, we're going to get started on Robert Greene's book, The Laws of Human Nature.